Hey YouTube, what's up? Welcome back to another update on the 2D RPG that I'm making in Godot. If you're new to the channel, I am making an action RPG that is also a productivity app. And if that sounds like something that's interesting to you, go ahead and follow the link in the description and sign up for the newsletter that I have so that I can email you when the app that I'm making is ready to beta test, if you're interested in being a beta tester. Either way, I just want to share what I'm working on. So you can see here that there's a new map, and I've just reworked a couple of the maps. In my last few videos, I was talking about building this level manager that manages the different scenes, and I was just switching back and forth between the same scene, but it got a bit confusing. So I wanted to make a couple different maps that the user can walk between, and I added some text here on each map that sort of gives the user a tutorial on what the controls are, because I got some feedback that it was a little confusing. So if you go ahead and head to the right here, you can see this is the original map. I've just added this text here, and let's see if we can make it through this map without dying. If you've watched the Heartbeast tutorial series on working with Godot, these sprites may look very familiar to you because I also watched that same tutorial series, and now I'm trying to take it further and build a full RPG around it. So this is the third and final new map here. It is much more populated with bats than the other two. I wanted to make this one a little hard for the user. You can see they just get swarmed right away. And now we have a game over screen, and you can press space and you should restart successfully. So what changed with the code? Let's go ahead and take a look. All right, here we are in the scene switcher script, which is the root node of my project. And here, if you watched the last video, I had on the ready function a connection to the left exit and right exit nodes, which was how I was handling when a level was changed. But since I made new maps, the first map that you start on does not have a left exit and a right exit. It just has a right exit. And then when I got to the game over screen, there's neither a left exit or a right exit. So I needed a way to generalize the concept of connecting to a node that allowed me to receive a signal that it was time to change scenes. And as I build more and more maps, there's going to be things like entrances and exits to houses or caves or things like this. So instead of connecting directly to a left exit or a right exit node, I'm now connecting to a level manager. And that level manager on each map will be responsible for controlling the signals on that map as to where I should be teleporting the player to or how I should be changing the map. So each map will always have a level manager, and then what entrances or exits it has within that, I'm not sure yet. I'm using get node to grab the level manager in the ready function here on line 10. But I noticed that I was receiving an error when I tried to use the same script down here on line 32. And I actually used this same technique in the level manager to check if the left exit and right exit exists. If you work in Godot, you probably had the same issue where you were getting an error in your debugger when you tried to call the get node function on a node that may not exist in the scene. Previously, I had a left exit and a right exit that I was checking. If this exists, connect to the signal coming from this node. But sometimes it didn't exist, and I didn't feel like that should have given me an error, but it was. And after looking at the documentation a bit, I learned that I need to use this get node or null function instead of just the get node function. So the get node or null will return null if it cannot find a matching node. And then this if check no longer creates an error because it is null, so we do not try to connect. This if block doesn't pass if it's null. Otherwise, the regular get node function, you will still get into this if block and you will try to connect to a node that isn't there. So let's go ahead and take a look at the world. And you can see on the left hand side, now I have a 2D node that is my level manager, and it has a right exit as a child of it. The script for that is mostly the same, except I did have to switch to the get node or null function that I just mentioned. The last thing I need to do here is to make sure that I'm spawning the player in the correct places when they move between maps. Right now, everything that you saw seems like it works perfectly because I never went backwards. But if you were to go backwards on any of the levels, you would spawn on the opposite side of the map than what you might expect as a player. So right now, the next thing I'm working on is adding in some entrances to these maps. And what I'm going to do is have to change my handle level change function to accept a second parameter. And in each exit, I will also have to pass a destination. So you're going to load a map, and then I will also load a string for a destination node, which will match one of the entrances on the map that you are expected to load. And that will control where the player spawns. But hopefully we'll be covering that in the next video. That's all I have to share this week. If you have questions on any of that, or you have ideas on how to improve the implementation, please leave a comment down below. I will definitely make sure that I read it and respond to all the comments that I get. Thank you for watching. Merry Christmas. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.